Most terpenes do not bind to your CB1 and CB2 receptors like THC or CBD do. So, if they don't activate the endocannabinoid system directly, why do they change how cannabis feels so reliably? Well, after you watch this video, you're going to understand why certain terpene profiles consistently support calm or focus or emotional release, and how your body knows the difference. Now, I'm not going to tell you that terpenes are magic, but I am going to show you how biology, scent, and the endocannabinoid system all work together. Now, terpenes don't act like THC. They shape the environment. Most people think that terpenes are there just to make weed smell and taste good, right? Like this one's super citrusy, this one's gassy, this one smells like peanut butter, this one smells like vomit, whatever. But terpenes don't work like THC or CBD. They don't slam into the CB1 or CB2 receptors and just take over the wheel. Instead, they shape the environment the ECS is operating in. They influence how receptive your receptors are, how signals move, how intense or gentle the experience feels. So, terpenes don't cause the experience, they modulate it. This is why two strains with the exact same THC and CBD percentage can feel completely different. Because your ECS isn't just responding to the cannabinoids, it's also responding to the context that the terpenes create. Look, here's a way to think of it. Did you ever get a text message that just said fine? Now, depending on the tone you read it with, it could mean fine. It could mean fine. It could also mean fine. Same word, but very different meaning. It's the same thing with terpenes. Think of cannabinoids as the message and terpenes as the tone of voice. And that's before we even talk about how they work together. The entourage effect is a state shaping system, not a buzz booster. Now, the entourage effect is often really oversimplified. You'll hear the phrase thrown around a lot, and usually the meaning of entourage effect gets reduced to full spectrum gets you higher. But that is not what's actually happening. The entourage effect is about shaping the state of the consumer because terpenes can influence how quickly cannabinoids cross the blood brain barrier, how long they last in your system, which brain regions are responding more strongly, and whether the experience feels calming or alerting or emotional or creative or grounding. So the entourage effect isn't about amplification, it's about direction. Now, the terpene blend in whatever you've just consumed is actively shaping your state of mind. It's actually actively shaping your state of being. This is why learning about terpene profiles literally changes everything because you stop asking, is this strong? And instead you start asking, what state does this support? Now, this right here is the difference between using cannabis reactively and using it intentionally. This is where things get really interesting because terpenes talk to the brain through emotion and memory first. Now, smell is the only sense that bypasses the thinking brain, right? It goes straight to the limbic system, which regulates your emotions and your memory and your instinct. That's why a smell can make you feel something before you even understand why. Now, terpenes are activating that exact same pathway, and they influence neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine and GABA, which your ECS already helps regulate. So now you got a feedback loop, right? Your terpenes are influencing your mood and emotion. And then the ECS responds to that emotional environment. And then the experience either deepens or softens accordingly, which again is going to influence your mood and emotion. So we're just going around in this circle, and terpenes are reinforcing it the whole way along. Now, this is why certain strains can feel nostalgic or comforting or emotionally opening. You're not imagining that. It's your biology actually remembering times when your state was similar to the one you're in now. You may not have a conscious memory of that time, but your body remembers it, right? And because smell bypasses your thinking brain, this is where science and ritual meet. Because scent isn't just sensory, it's symbolic. Every scent that you smell that your brain has cataloged represents something beyond just its smell, whether it's a memory or a feeling or a vibe. And that's why different terpenes support different states of being, because terpenes are emotional and embodiment keys. So let's take all this theory and make it actually practical. Okay, so different terpenes reliably support different states. Now, linalool, think lavender, right? That's going to support calm and presence and emotional release. It's great for your nervous system down regulating. We've also got pinene. There's alpha pinene and beta pinene, and they smell like pine or forest air. And they're going to support clarity, alertness, and breath awareness. That's why pinene is beautiful for focus or movement or meditation that stays awake. Now we've also got myrcene, right? Which is earthy and heavy smelling. It's grounding and sedating and integrative. Now, this is like end of the day, body based, we're going to let it all land energy. And limonene, right, which comes from citrus peels and definitely smells very citrusy. It's uplifting and energizing and emotionally expansive. It supports joy and motivation and authenticity. Now, these aren't just effects, they're actual states, right? And once you get yourself into a certain state, you are set up for whatever experience you want to have, whether it's energizing or relaxing. And then once you know this, once you understand this, you can start to choose terpene profiles that are based on creativity or grounding or emotional processing or rest or embodiment practices like journaling or breath work. Terpenes become a language. They become a way to tune your internal environment before you even begin your session. And when you combine that with intention, you get holistic intelligence. This is where it all integrates. This is where everything comes together. So when you combine terpene awareness with intentional cannabis use, you're not just consuming a plant, you are actually engaging in a biochemical ritual. Here's what's happening. The ECS receives cannabinoids, while terpenes shape your emotional and your energetic tone. And therefore, your nervous system responds with regulation and awareness. You have a smoother cannabis experience that meets your expectations because you intentionally set those expectations and then created the tone environment for those expectations to land and to exist. That's not a bunch of woo-woo magic. That is coordination between systems in your body that you created with your intention. Now, this is why pairing terpene-rich cannabis, right, actual dried flower cannabis, not distillate with some terpenes added back in, with intentional practices like breath work or mindful movement or journaling or meditation feels so different than consuming cannabis and sitting on the couch and scrolling reels on your phone until you reach the end of the internet. It's the same plant, but you experience a completely different outcome. You feel a very different way. This is spiritual technology, not because it's mystical, but because it actually helps your body align with your truth through sensation. Now, terpenes aren't just smell. They're meaning carried in molecules that your body already understands. And that's the part that most people miss. Terpenes aren't changing the effects of THC or CBD. They are changing the conversation that your body is having because of the THC and the CBD. When you understand terpenes, cannabis and cannabis experiences stop being a guess, and instead they start becoming a dialogue that you have between yourself and your own body. This was the 5th video in this endocannabinoid system series. And in the next video, we're going to look at why modern medicine misses the most important system in the body, right? The ECS is arguably the most important system in your body because it keeps everything in homeostasis. It keeps it balanced. It keeps it functioning properly. And modern science, modern medicine almost completely miss it. So we'll be looking at that and the future of holistic wellness in the next video. So be sure to subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed so that you don't miss it. If you enjoyed this video, if you learned something new, if you got something out of it, please give it a like. It does help the channel for you to give it a like and share it with somebody else who you think would be interested in learning this information too, so that more people who are interested in learning this can find it and also learn to use terpenes to make their cannabis experience exactly what they need it to be. I'll see you in the next one.